Welcome everybody to another Learn Squared live stream. You got Nick with Learn Squared here. I'm joined by Mr. Louis Laurent. Louis Laurent, how you doing?
Pretty good, pretty good. Thank you for having me again.
Again,
Very
we're
excited.
happy to have you again. Happy New
Yeah,
Year. Welcome 2023.
yeah. So many things happening right now.
So for anybody who doesn't know, Louis Laurent released a course for us last year. Late last year, he put out Dynamic Concept Art 1, which was hugely well received. A lot of people loved it. There's a lot of incredible homework that came out of it. Post some hype in the chat, ladies and gents, if you've taken Dynamic Concept Art 1, because Louis just did some incredible work on that. And so what we're here to talk about today is that Louis has come back and created a second course for us. When he was working on Dynamic Concept Art 1, he was already sort of conceptualizing what this second course would be. This is kind of the final product of this course exists in the universe of the first course. But what's really exciting about it is that you can take either course separately, and they sort of work as self-contained courses. So whether someone wants to take both courses together or this new course alone, either way works. Get excited though, guys, because we have a new course being premiered on today's show. We're going to show you guys the world premiere of the trailer in just a sec, so get excited for that. Louis is also here to very generously provide his time and talents to do another live demonstration on today's broadcast. Louis, that's awesome.
Yeah, no, it's always exciting, and I love like sharing with people and stuff. So super cool to be here.
So keep your eyes out. Later in the stream, Louis is going to be doing that live demo for you guys. Get your questions ready about the course, about his techniques, about anything like that. And in addition to all that, we have a really exciting world premiere site-wide new feature for Learn Square. This is a brand new community feature we're going to be premiering on today's broadcast. So find out in just a little bit what that is and how you can participate. And I'm just going to give you a little sneak preview. You definitely want to participate in that site-wide feature, guys. So get pumped for that. I'm going to, just before we jump into the show, I want to give a shout out to a bunch of people who are in the chat there. Try saying hello. Welcome, Try. Welcome, Who is Ibby? Welcome, Type A Music. Welcome, Galaxy Mooncat 77. Quentin Maurice, Hunter Catherwood, Enzo Minaro, Loris Gogi. Everybody's excited in here. Guys, thank you so much for being a part of today's show. And thank you for the love. Enzo Minaro especially saying it's King Louis with the crown on there.
It's a friend. It's trolling.
Unless my eyes are cheated by some spell. I always appreciate a good Lord of the Rings reference in there. Uh, so we're gonna kick it off here the best way I know how. Let's find out about this new course together, ladies and gents. We're gonna world premiere the trailer for Dynamic Concept Art 2. So take a look, guys. Feast your eyes, get your questions ready, and let's learn about Dynamic Concept Art 2. Here we go. Last year, Louis Laurent released a massive course for Learn Squared. And now, his highly anticipated follow-up is about to arrive. Dynamic Concept Art 2 is all about taking your designs to the next level. While the previous course dealt mostly with the natural world, this one dives into the harsher, less forgiving shapes of hard surfaces. You'll learn to craft high-precision VR sketches, detail structures and vehicles to create a vast sense of scale, and deliver a huge crop of paintings in record time, ranging from 30-minute black and white paintovers to 4-hour hero keyframes. This is a jam-packed set of lessons, with more than 10 hours of guided learning and over 40 hours of unedited process videos that you can analyze at any pace you choose. Plus, just like the last course, if you don't have VR, Louis shows off all the exact same methods in traditional 3D software as well, so there really is something for everybody. With both courses now available, either separately or together in a discounted bundle, there's never going to be a better time to jump into dynamic concept art than right now. Sign up today and begin your journey at learnsquare.com. Ladies and gents, you saw it here first. Dynamic Concept Art 2. Can we get some hype in that chat? Post some hearts, post some love for Louis coming in making this entire amazing second course. You saw how much content this thing is packed with. You're seeing on your screens right now all of the final product images from this course. If you can believe it, Lewis, in this course alone, delivered 10 separate finalized concept images for the course. So you're seeing them scroll across your screen now, black and white, color. He shows how to do all different levels of finishing, which I thought was a really fascinating part of the course. Like, for example, if a client needs something from you within the next hour, you show how to give that versus like if you have the rest of the day to work on a paint over, showing how to do like something that's a little bit more finished. Can you talk about that stuff in the course, Lewis?
Yeah, sure. So as I'm working for film mainly for now as a freelancer for Framestore, well, you have like to be able like to be flexible and um, to output a lot of stuff very quickly sometimes, especially when a client or supervisor will come to you and say, hey, in 2 hours we have a meeting and we would like to show to the client this idea. So can you make a quick painting or just to a visual for showing to the client? So again, as an artist, you always want to do your best and be happy with your work. So you have like to deal with it and be very fast. So yeah, I have like multiple tools for this kind of stuff that I show in the course. How you can manage like to do very quick keyframe under 2 hours. You can take more your time under a day or even multiple day if you need. So yeah.
And then going through the course as well, how did you kind of connect the dots from the first course, which focuses, more on kind of like these natural designs, to this course, which goes more into these hard surface designs and more complicated pieces of design?
Yeah, so the first course, yeah, was definitely more about the outside world, the landscape and like the plant and stuff. And this one about the art surface. So the design like aspect, the first course was definitely more about like the basic building strong fundamentals for this course as well. So in this one, we dive way more deep into like the advanced design fundamental composition, what as well is cinematography. And so as you can see, like I have like images that we have this base in this world, but we still have landscape. And so like the landscape asset that I use in this course are actually brought from the first one, even the character and stuff. So actually, there is a lot of asset that I bring from the first course. So everything is kind of connect. And even like my brief didn't change from the first course. It's the same. It's just I'm doing like the second part of my brief, which is the base, the vehicle, the character, and what's happening in this world with this human military base.
I think that's something really fascinating about this two course thing that you did, where you planned it from the beginning to include both halves of content so that they do have a through line for these two courses. So anybody who's taken the first course, you guys remember that in his original brief, it shows like, okay, here's what I want to do for when these people are in, a alien forest, and then after they leave the forest, they go to this kind of like more industrial area, and you kind of in the first course get a general idea of what might be in this second course, and that makes it so that when you take the second course, for anybody who takes the second course, they can take it as a completely standalone thing. But for anybody who has taken the first course, there's kind of like an extra little bit for them, because people who have taken the first course can reuse their assets in interesting ways to support the designs that they're making for this one. I think that's really that's
So
pretty awesome. And to clarify for anybody who is thinking about the course, is seeing this and saying, "Wow, I really want to get into dynamic concept art. I didn't take the first course yet. Now is a great time to do it." Like we mentioned in the trailer, both courses are available for sale. The first course is completely out now. The second course is now on the site in pre-order form, so you can pre-order that right now. And you can get a special bundle deal where you'll save 20% on if you buy both courses together. So it is the time to do it, ladies and gents. Now is the time to get in there and jump on this amazing opportunity to learn from one of the best in the industry. Now, there's a little bonus thing on today's show that I want to talk about. So, like we were talking about with these, with this first course, people have had time to go through the course, submit their homework. There's a lot of incredible homework. Let me jump over to the PC screen here. We're looking at the Learn Squared homework gallery for course 1. There's already a bunch of amazing, all the way from brief ideas and assets to 3D blockouts, paintovers from all different people. There's a lot of incredible work that came out of this first course. And while you guys are waiting for the second course to come out, which is, let's talk about the release date. The second course is coming out on April 17th. So about 3 weeks from now. Get hyped, ladies and gents. While you guys are waiting for April 17th, we have a fun thing for you. So we are doing a brand new thing on Learn Squared. This is the first time we've ever done this. We're premiering the Learn Squared Student Homework Awards. So this is a special program that Lewis is actually going to be curating for us. Lewis will be going through all of the homework that is submitted by a deadline of April 14th, so a little bit before the second course comes out. He's going to be going through all of the student homework and giving out awards in a particular set of categories. So we have 4 categories that can potentially win an award, which means that there will be 4 total winners in these student homework awards. So get hyped, ladies and gents. There's nothing you have to do to enter these awards other than submit your homework. And the reason that we have this deadline a few weeks in advance, let me show the little screen here. The deadline is a few weeks in advance because anybody who has not yet taken the course still has time to submit their homework. So all of those homework assignments that you've seen submitted on the site are already entered in the contest. They're all good to go. You don't have to submit any kind of form or anything like that. Anybody who has not yet submitted their homework has these 3 weeks to do so. And the nice thing is that you don't even have to have finished the course to be a part of these student homework awards. Let's say, for example, you've only gotten to the point where you finished making your assets. You'll still be eligible for the Creativity and Asset Design Award, for example. So let's go through real quick, ladies and gents, and talk about these student homework awards. And if there's anybody out there in the chat who has taken that first course and might be excited to potentially be a part of these awards, show some love in that chat. Show some support for Lewis's course. So the 4 awards we have here: Imaginative World Building, Creativity and Asset Design, Excellence in Set Design, and the Distinguished Paintover Award. These more or less correspond to the 4 biggest pillars of education in Lewis's first course. So that's going to allow you to really have a recognition for all of these different categories. And so these 4 winners are actually going to get a couple of different things. So first off, each winner is going to receive a special promo on the official Learn Squared channels, showing that they specifically won this award. Even a little write-up from Lewis about, the merits of each picture and each design. They're going to get a personalized certificate of excellence, sort of like you can hang it on your wall, you can give it to your friends, put it on your social media, anywhere you want. And that winner is going to, each of these 4 winners, let me clarify, each of these 4 winners is going to get 1 free course of their choosing from anywhere on the site. So there's no limits to that. They can choose whichever course they want and really just continue their Learn Squared journey in whichever discipline they've been thinking about learning, or maybe just learning more in the discipline that they've already been learning, anything they want. And this is really, really exciting stuff. So just to go real quick even further through these awards: World Building, for the artist who demonstrates unparalleled ability to prepare an unforgettable world within their artwork. This one sort of corresponds to some of the lessons that you learn in creating your world in lesson 1. We have creativity and asset design, which is one of the big pillars of Lewis's course. Whether you create in VR or 3D, asset design is really a huge part of the process, and this one really recognizes that. Excellence in set design goes in for people who really create incredible spaces for their story to take place. And our last one about the paint over. This one can either just be an excellent paint over or something that really truly changes the original designs into something even better. So we're really excited to be, celebrating our students and all these people who have created this amazing work. We wanted to show you guys some recognition for the stuff that you're doing and reward you a little bit for creating some amazing work. So thank you to everybody who's submitted homework, and thank you to everybody who's thinking about submitting homework. If you're thinking about it, now's a great time to do it. So with all that said, let's talk about dynamic concept art too. Maybe we'll jump into this demo here, Lewis. How's that?
Yeah, sure.
So we're going to jump over to your screen here. This is Lewis's Blender. And can you tell us about sort of what you're thinking here for today's demo?
Yeah, sure. So I've prepared for myself a little brief as I do all the time when I want to design something. So first of all, I wrote some line. So the goal will be to design a military robotic mule that carries bag, crates, and military equipment around the base. The mule can be used on warfield, even if it's not his specialty. So the first task that we are going to do today is to design the actual mule. So my goal is really to have this kind of military visual language, but at the same time, I want to find the shape that will be kind of unique and maybe that we won't use in the first place for military stuff, or just something that looks sci-fi. So that will be my job, and then I can just put a ton of military stuff over the shape. So I have some references for characters and scale. And this will be more for the environment. So I have, again, ton of different stuff for the environment, like, again, really cool reference for the scale, military base, even like 3D kit badge that I could use because I'm not going to design every little corner of the environment. So I can speed up the process by using some stuff. And what I really love as well to do when looking for references is always have some kind of twist inside the design of the world that I want to design. So here, I think it will be more about the textural. There is a lot of texture that I found very cool, so I will try like to use them in a military context. So a ton of different stuff. So yeah, I think I will add some pipe as well here and there. So I think it will be as well a very nice solution, like to have maybe 80% of the environment will be some kind of rocks, desert, and 20% of the structure will be some pipes. So pipe will be as well a really nice way to lead the eye to the focal point and stuff like that, and to show how the environment is, how big, and like some very cool design line. So I have a ton of different references. Like you can go like to here it's more for the scale. Here it's for like more for the shape. Here the color is really cool, and I can really easily like almost copy this kind of environment and start to change some stuff and imagine like some people around here with some vehicle opening. Maybe we have like some big opening at the top, so the light of the sun can come inside. So maybe I will try to have an interior like that, or an opening in the outside like that. So a lot of very cool stuff. And I've already like prepared some notes for me. So how the vehicle is going to be. So this is really dirty notes. Most of the time I don't choose this kind of stuff, but just to show you that I already thought about the design in the first place. So what is the function? It's transportation. So what kind of transportation is carrying? Is there any captor, antenna? How the vehicle is actually flying? Is it using like some kind of thermic or electric, or is it like Star Wars? It's kind of magic, and you just have a thruster and you just fly. So and the shape as well. So I'm going for more like a donut shape. So yeah, I think we can jump into Blender just to start and discuss about the course, Nick.
And so one of the big things in the course itself is that you teach kind of two concurrent workflows, and you make sure to show how to do your asset designs in both, where you show a VR technique in through Medium as your VR software of choice, and then also how to do the same stuff in traditional 3D like Blender, which is really cool. And for anybody who, for example, doesn't have access to VR, like they can still be a part of these same techniques and workflows that you show. Can you talk about the importance of that?
Oh yeah, definitely. Like both, every tool have like their strengths and weakness, and VR, which is really great with VR, is the freedom of the tool, and it's really like easy to come up with really cool shape. Especially like in my design, I really love to have organic feeling, even in art surface. And for that, like sculpting with Medium is a really, really powerful tool. But sometimes when you want to do maybe some cleaner stuff, or you already have a good idea that you want to design, it just makes more sense to jump directly into Blender or any 3D package that you found more clean, like 3D Coat or ZBrush. But yeah, VR is super important. I use VR a lot of time. My work when I have to design stuff is very, very fast as well. In the industry, especially in film, you have to be very fast. So if you can just go into VR and start to design your stuff very quickly and win maybe a lot of time, it adds a lot of value to your person as an artist in the industry. But yeah, it's quite expensive, and you have to have a good machine. So I would say it's the big downside of VR is that. So that's why in the course we have done everything as well in Blender, and since Blender is free and very powerful tool, I think it's very accessible as well.
I do want to mention as well, for anybody in the chat who has any questions for Louis about the artwork that he's making on screen right now, or about his professional workflows, any of that kind of stuff, any of his artwork, make sure you post those in the chat. Now's your chance to really pick Louis's brain about really anything that you're dying to know out there. So post that stuff in the chat, get your questions in, and we'll be standing by to answer. So in addition to that, can you kind of take us through what you're thinking right now with creating this shape and what you're going for, Louis?
Yeah. So in Blender, there is different way to start art surface design. You can use like the classic way, which you start with primitive and then you start to extrude, and you can start with playing your shape, maybe adding cut lines, stuff like that. So again, this is a nice way, but I feel it's what in design I really love, like this kind of bevel and stuff like that. So you can do it like easier by using a subdivision modifier. So here, for example, I just use like a subdivision. If I like delete the subdivision, as you can see, like this is the basic shape that I use. But with the subdivision, as you can see, like it smooths everything. And I just have like to add cut line, and I can play with the the fall off of the different bevel. I can if I want like add resolution as well to the design. So this is my one way to work is with subdivision or the classic way. Another way is with Metaball, which again is a very, very powerful tool as well. Because Metaball has this feeling as well that everything can merge together. So for example, if I'm creating one ball here, and I'm starting maybe like to create another one, you will see like everything is merging together like that. So if you want even like smoother stuff, and then you can jump into sculpting, maybe to add cut line or use any Boolean, stuff like that. But you can use as well negative, so Boolean with Metable. So again, this is like really nice way to, if I wanted like to recreate this kind of shape, I could do it like with Metable. This is a very, very powerful tool as well. You can even like a quick tips if you want like to use Metable and use a mirror tool. Because the downside with the Metable is you are going to not have like the modifier, like the mirror, the Boolean and stuff like that. So a way to do that is to create a new object. You can delete everything, but you keep the object, and you are going to create a geometry node. So geometry node is something quite recent in Blender. I think now it's less recent, but it was still quite recent. I still have like to dive deep into geometry node because you can do really, really crazy stuff with it. So for example, here, if I'm using like the collection of my Metable, where I put my Metable, so it's collection 7, and I use another node for realizing the instance. So it's going basically to create an instance of the collection. Okay, so it's here. And now, since it's an object, I can use the modifier on it. So I can like use the mirror and everything on this one. So everything that I'm going to change here is going to happen on the object here, and you can use like any modifier and stuff. So this is, I think, like the one of the best way to design with Metable, and keeping like all the modifier on the object and stuff like that. So Metable is still something that I have like to dive into it, but I think it's really, really powerful, and it's kind of like a MOI 3D, which is a really great software as well. I think you can almost emulate the same kind of design. So back to this one, I'm just going to use the subdivision, and here my goal, as you can see, like my quick drawing, the shape is really simple. We are going to have like just a donut with bags and stuff, and like antenna, cameras, and the little drone are going to fly around with the character. So the big shape, this donut, is actually the most important shape in my design. So it has to be like interesting, and it's almost 80% of my design. So I have to like to find a way to make it very interesting. It can be like in the contrast of the like of the different bevel. Here we have like a more like sharp bevel. We are going to add frame, so cut line, and it will lead the eye to the center. We want to lead the eye to the center of the donut as well. So I have like to find a way to lead the eye to the center of the design, and at the same time having something that is simple but complex in a way. So this is also a challenge with this kind of design. When you are using really simple shape, one of my favorite design is actually like the Falcon Millennium in Star Wars. It's very simple shape. It's almost like just a round with a triangle at the top, and that's it. If you look at the silhouette, and it's always like that with my design. I always try to aim for something that is simple and that is easily to remember, and which I think is a huge part of an iconic design. It's something that is really actually easy to remember, and to if you had like to draw from memory, I think it's almost like a crash test. When you are a kid, you can redraw like Mickey or the Falcon Millennium, because the design is very simple. So I think it works very nice. But it's not to complicate design. There is complicated design like in fantasy or stuff like that, and for creature, or is completely different, I think.
But that is a really important aspect of design, and that's also one of the really main. So for anybody who, nobody knows about the lesson titles, I guess, in the second course yet. So in the second course, the whole first lesson is focused specifically on making a hero asset. And Lewis goes really deep into some of the things he's talking about now with making sure to come up with, because that's really important, is to come up with a kind of iconic silhouette and iconic design for your assets so that, yeah, like you're saying right now, is like, could somebody who looked at it redraw it easily, redraw the
Yeah.
silhouette easily. Um,
Mhm.
and yeah, that is a good test. I know when I was a kid, I would, you know, draw a TIE fighter, draw a Millennium Falcon, like
Yeah,
it,
exactly. Yeah.
that stuff sticks with you. When it's a great
Mhm.
design, it sticks with you. And, being able to actually like harness your imagination and help people to come up with those kinds of designs is really valuable. I do want to get to a couple of the questions. Thank you to Charles Houghton, who asked his first question. Great question, too. Thank you. Uh, is Blender Lewis's preferred tool, but do you also use other 3D softwares for specific tasks?
Um, I used to use ZBrush for displacement and like if I had like to add like texture, but as a geometry, not as a displacement texture. I 3D coat as well, but I think now I'm doing actually everything in Blender. I prefer to do everything in Blender almost, um, because it's just I'm tired and bored with jumping between software, exporting stuff. Even if there is a good bridge now between software, but I don't know. Like I think Blender is almost as a state where you can almost do very everything. I would say just the scripting tool need to be a bit more like optimized to handle more polygon and stuff, but you can do pretty much in Blender now.
Yeah, I mean, just to come at it from the perspective of what's in the course, pretty much the entire course is conducted, at least for the 3D parts.
Yeah.
Pretty much all the 3D parts of the course are done uh, either in VR or alternatively in Blender.
Mhm.
There is like a very small part where you do show a kind of like an alternative thing you could do in ZBrush. Um, but then there's kind of like a moment where you show how you could do that in Blender as well. So it, I think the important thing to remember too for anybody who's taking the course or thinking about taking the course is like, while Lewis does show how to do these things in Medium and how to do things in Blender, those are, like Charles Houghton mentioned, just his preferred software. But that doesn't
Mhm.
mean that a student who's taking the course also has to use the same apps that Lewis is using. So you guys out there can use really whatever you want, whatever you're comfortable with, as long as you can achieve the same result. That's all that matters in the end, right?
Yeah.
So before we get, thank you to Rushboard Technologies just out of the gate for another question. But before we get to your question, stay tuned. We're going to jump back to the trailer here for anybody who's just joining the show. I see that a bunch of people just joined from the last time that we showed the trailer at the beginning. So for anybody who's confused about what we're talking about today, Louis Laurent has just today on this stream revealed his brand new course, Dynamic Concept Art 2, which is coming out in just 3 weeks' time. On April 17th, this course is coming out. You can pick it up right now in pre order. You can also get a 2-course bundle, Dynamic Concept Art 1 and 2 together, for a little discount. And I do want to mention for anybody who's wondering about this, I know a lot of you guys purchased Dynamic Concept Art 1 when it came out. Anybody who purchased the first course before the event, before this stream happened, will actually get a coupon to be able to get the second course for the equivalent discount bundle price. So we want to make sure that you guys who were early adopters on the first course get the same deal that anybody buying the bundle now can get. So huge thanks to everybody who's supported the first course, and to anybody who's thinking about grabbing these courses. You can get them right now at learnsquared.com. Now, let's jump into that trailer, guys. And while you're watching this trailer, formulate some questions. Now's your chance, once again, to pick Lewis's brain about what's in this new course, what his techniques are, what his art style is like, anything you want to know, any tips and tricks you want to know for making your own art out there, ladies and gents. Now is your time to really be able to ask Lewis whatever you want to know. So let's jump into that trailer, formulate those questions, and post those questions in the chat. while we're doing it.
Last year, Laurent released a massive course for Learn Squared. And now, his highly anticipated follow-up is about to arrive. Dynamic Concept Art 2 is all about taking your designs to the next level. While the previous course dealt mostly with the natural world, this one dives into the harsher, less forgiving shapes of hard surfaces. You'll learn to craft high-precision VR sketches, detail structures and vehicles to create a vast sense of scale, and deliver a huge crop of paintings in record time, ranging from 30-minute black and white paintovers to 4-hour hero keyframes. This is a jam-packed set of lessons, with more than 10 hours of guided learning and over 40 hours of unedited process videos that you can analyze at any pace you choose. Plus, just like the last course, if you don't have VR, Louis shows off all the exact same methods in traditional 3D software as well, so there really is something for everybody. With both courses now available, either separately or together in a discounted bundle, there's never going to be a better time to jump into dynamic concept art than right now. Sign up today and begin your journey at learnsquare.com.
Ladies and gents, Dynamic Concept Art 2, post in that chat if you like what you saw, if you like the work that you're seeing up on screen right now. Just post a little tiny heart in that chat. I'm going to post a heart too. I think I can do that. In that chat, show some love for Louis Laurent, who not only created an incredible course that you guys just saw the trailer for, but has also come in to do this stream for you guys totally free. Anybody can watch this, just giving away so many of his secrets and just being so generous with his time. Louis did, for anybody who doesn't know, Louis did 2 huge live streams for us last year to announce his first course and then to celebrate the first course coming out, which was like, I want to say maybe like over 3 hours worth of demonstrations that you did. Louis actually created an entire concept design from beginning to end on stream for those 2 streams. And now he's doing another one for us on today's show. So post that love for Louis in the chat just to show the support for an amazingly generous, incredibly talented human being. Thank you, Louis.
Thank you for thinking about too much love.
We got Charles Houghton saying, nice trailer, good job. Your Guimares, I'm so sorry if I pronounced that wrong. It said, just bought it, I'm pumped. Thank you so much. Let's get some, I'm going to post another heart in that chat for Guimares, who just bought the course. Thank you so much for the support. Excited to see what you create. Mark's VFX posting the heart eyes. Love that. Rodrigo Nicolas with the heart. Blender from Zero with the heart. Konstantin Korkolos. Philip Bubom. Thank you guys so much for the hearts. And I'm sorry if I mispronounce anyone's name or possibly everyone's name. Nothing personal. I'm bad with names, I guess. We're going to jump back onto the demo in just a second, and we're going to get to some of these questions that are being posted in the chat. Thank you to everybody who is posting questions in the chat. A reminder, Louis is here live on the stream. Louis is doing a demo, and he's also answering whatever questions you guys want to know. So make sure you post any questions you have, either about the course or about creating art in general, in that chat. If anybody has questions as well about our homework awards, you can post those as well. These Learn Squared homework awards, we're pretty excited for this as well, which gives you guys a little nice extra push to finish your homework. I don't know about you guys, but if I have a project, it's always nice to have a deadline. It allows you to actually come out with, not just keep noodling with something, but actually finish it. So just to remind everybody, these homework awards are going to be happening for Louis's first course, and we're going to have the award ceremony announce the winners right when the second course comes out. So you guys will be able to go straight from the first one to the second one. We have awards for these 4 categories: imaginative world building, creativity and asset design, excellence in set design, and the Distinguished Paintover Award. the winners of all 4 of these categories. So that's 4 separate prizes, ladies and gents. The most prizes we've ever given out at one time. They're going to win not only a specialized feature, a promo on our Learn Squared social channels, as well as a personalized certificate of excellence that they can hang up or post on their ArtStation or do whatever they want with. But also, all 4 of these winners are going to get a free Learn Squared course of their choosing. So that's pretty huge. We've never done such a big giveaway before, and we really want to give back to you guys for just creating such incredible work on these courses. So this one specifically for Lewis's first course, anybody who's already submitted their homework is entered already. You don't have to do anything extra. Anybody who has not yet submitted their homework, or if you just bought the course right now, you have until April 14th. So you got a good amount of time to take the course, submit homeworks for whichever categories you want to enter. Good luck to everybody. I want to see some sportsmanlike conduct in that chat. Can we get some sportsmanlike conduct? Can we post some good luck in that chat? I'm going to post a little good luck in here. Good luck to everyone. Someone wins, someone loses. It's nice to wish everyone good luck in these awards. So good luck to all of our people who are submitting homework. You are not only creating amazing work, but you might win something, so that's great. Now we're going to jump back over to Lewis's computer feed here. We're going to take a look at what he's creating. Blender from Zero saying, you got my name perfect. I'm glad to hear that. Blender from Zero also saying, buying now. Thank you, Blender from Zero. I'm going to get a heart in that chat as well for Blender from Zero. Thank you for the support, and we're excited to see what you create. That's like the most exciting part of any course for me, is like seeing all this amazing work that comes out of it from students. Yeah. I like Enzo Minaro's comment, said, that's a really sexy donut there. When you had donut is one of the, that's a classic, a classic 3D object.
Yeah, absolutely. I think like the Blender Guru is doing the donut tutorial.
So we have another question that I promised I would get to, and we're going to do it right now. So great question from Rushboard Technologies. How do you decide what areas of a piece should be lit whilst others are in shadow? And I could just throw in there real quick as well. There is a huge part of this course that deals with that, like specifically with lighting. Mm-hmm. And maybe if I could build on this question a little bit, Lewis, you could talk about in the course how this one actually goes into even more advanced techniques than the first one, where you kind of break down scenes from films and all different kinds of lighting and composition and all that stuff.
So there is actually 2 sections that speak about lighting. There is one about advanced composition fundamental. So second one is cinematography element. So we study film, stills, and what we can learn from cinema and great cinematography out there, and apply the same principle to our work to give this cinematic feeling. Especially that I'm working in film, so it makes even more sense. But if there is plenty of video games out there that have like this cinematic feeling, like Last of Us, to say one, but there is a ton. So I think it's really important to. It's a great tool, like to really understand what is a good lighting and stuff like that. So again, lighting is all about the focal point and the story that you want to tell. So you should light everything in a way that, for me, lighting is used for two things: push your story and your focal point. The second, it should help as well for the readability of your image. It's very important for anyone looking at your image that they understand everything at once. There is no like anything that stands out, or you don't understand what's really happening in the image and stuff like that. So lighting helps a ton for that. So having a good contrast of light, dark. So most of the time you're going to put a light element and a dark shape behind, and you can play a lot with this kind of contrast of light, dark, and there is a ton of little contrast happening inside your image like that, and it helps a lot for for readability. So, you know, the classic concept art, you will see like most of the time the foreground in the dark and your focal point maybe in the light with a dark background behind your focal point. And you can like have, you know, more complex scheme after, like with a lot of different contrast. But yeah, most of the time lighting should help for your story and your focal point. So if you know, if you feel like you have put like maybe the your focal point is not in the light, or maybe sometimes you don't want to put it in the light, your focal point, but it's all about shape as well, where you place your dark and your light shape. So it comes as well a lot with painting fundamentals in a way. So yeah, everything is kind of connected. Like even like the design stuff that I spoke in the course is actually connect with the composition and the painting. So yeah.
Yeah, and Rushboard Technologies, thank you again for the question. It's a really important question, and yeah, there is a lot of excellent resources in the course, in both courses, but even more specifically in this second course, where Lewis really goes in depth about how to get very compelling lighting, and a lot of stuff that you might not necessarily, or at least I hadn't thought of before. You know, you're getting some really, really compelling stuff by doing that light, dark technique and using these light blockers and stuff, that it gives it a very naturalistic look that, you know, directs the eyes in such a compelling way. So yeah, Rushboard Technologies, that hopefully that answers your question. And also, if you're planning on taking the course, there's even more for you, rest assured. I want to just say again, thank you to Olivia B. Thank you to Enzo Minaro for the hearts. And we have a few people posted some good luck in there as well. Blender from Zero saying, may the best human win. I like that. Mark's VFX saying, show off your homework and help inspire me to finish mine. You know, sometimes it's all you need is a little bit of inspiration. Now, while Lewis works on this demo, I want to take a second, and we do have more questions, so thank you to everybody who's posting your questions. Keep the questions coming in the chat. You're not forgotten. We will get to all the questions as they in time. But I do want to show off a little bit, since we were talking about homework and since we're getting excited about people's homework and about the homework awards, I want to jump over and take a look at some specific homeworks that have been submitted on the first Lewis course. So as we showed off, we just kind of looked at the thumbnails for a bunch of homework assignments. But if we really come in here and look, this one is from Aidan Lupori. Thank you so much to Aidan Lupori for creating this. This one comes in from the first lesson. And this is an example of some of the planning stuff. For example, that would be eligible for our world building award. Creating this kind of brief list of elements that are needed, creating sketches for, you know, how this story might play out, what kinds of keyframes you might need, and then having this sort of overall plan, which, as you can see, is actually planned out A, B, C, and that applies to different pictures, different parts of the story, which these are all things that Lewis specifically goes over in the course, how to plan out. And it's a really effective way to create a concept and to build a world that's not just one painting, but rather a world that can have as many paintings as you want. In the first course, there were 4 finished paintovers that Lewis created. In this new course, Lewis created 10 separate paintovers that are all finished throughout the course. So it's really, you know, the sky's the limit, guys. That's a huge amount of content that got created. And again, great job to Aidan Lupori on this first lesson's homework. We have this one from Ivor Tosic, The Last Cargo, which we're going to see more of this later. This is an example that would be eligible for the Asset Creation Award. And these are some really, really striking designs, from creatures to humans to environment pieces. You can see they're all categorized by big, medium, small, which is one of the things that Lewis goes over in his course as well, kind of trying to make sure to specify and ensure that you have stuff this is nice that they show their human next to the scale. So the small scale, medium scale, and the big scale where the humans are tiny. You have cargo pieces, you have creatures. There we go. Creatures. It's all incredible work. Thank you to Ivor Tosic for submitting this incredible work. And while we're going through here, feel free to just be free with those hearts, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to put some more hearts. Every time I see people creating incredible work, it's just so inspiring, and I'm so appreciative that there's people out there that are, making this amazing work and, frankly, inspiring me. It's self-serving to an extent because I get inspired from this stuff. This one is from Lucas Rodriguez, who created these paintovers for from the course. And so you can see that this one's in a totally different direction. It has a little bit of hard surface like we end up covering in the second course. And you can see that this is a totally different kind of environment. And it goes to show the different sort of angles and approaches that you can use when you're taking the course. This one uses some of Lewis's character assets, which he provided in the first course from John Devia. Thank you, John Devia. Uses some of his character assets and puts them in a new environment, which is just an amazing, sand cave. This is amazing stuff. Thank you to John Devia. Discovery Crew from Alan Albeck. These are another set of final paintovers in here. Another really striking world, really striking set of concepts. Just look at some of these. These are incredible. Apparently my internet's not very good because I can't load the pictures, but these are, just the sense of scale and the sense of being alone in this huge environment is so palpable. Great job to Alan Albeck. We have another one. This is Last Cargo from Ivor Tosic again, but in final paintover stage, and you can see these pieces being integrated into a larger environment. So some of these creatures and assets, how they come together. And again, guys, these are all students of the course who have, all seen the same material that Lewis created in the first course and made these amazing concept designs. So while we are looking at people who took the first course, obviously that's the only one that's out so far, the only one that people have had time to do homework for, this gives you a good indication of the level of quality of work that you might be able to create from this second course, because this is the kind of stuff that Lewis is allowing you to inspire. All of these concepts that we've seen, this last one from Aidan Luporia as well, these are all so different and so distinct and just such incredible designs. So thank you to everybody who's submitted homework for the course. We're really excited to see what any new students create, what anybody who has not yet submitted their homework creates. Don't forget, guys, I'll put it on the screen here, that you have until April 14th to submit your homework if you want to be entered in the Student Homework Awards. And you'll also have the added honor of having your work specifically looked over by Lewis, which is an amazing thing in itself. We kind of glossed over that, but that's amazing that Lewis is actually going to be looking at your work, critiquing it and choosing a winner from that. And he'll actually be creating custom write-ups about the 4 people that win. So awesome stuff. And thanks again, Lewis, for agreeing to do that.
Oh, that's actually really cool from you guys doing that. I think it's a really nice way to congratulate students.
Oh, we love our students, and it's really important to us that people feel like they are a part of these courses and feel like they're being challenged. And in the last couple of years, we've been trying to make the courses more interactive, add more assignments, let people kind of really dig deeper into the courses. And for anybody who has not taken Lewis's course yet, and who has not seen the second course, of course, the amount of assignments in here gets very granular, where it really allows you to learn something and then make sure that you apply the skills you just learned. So you're not watching a million videos and then doing one assignment, but rather really going through, and as you learn a particular skill, you're then asked to do your own version and really apply the skills you just learned about. So it's a very interactive course in that way, and it sort of stops to allow you as the student to consistently catch up and apply what you've learned without just like seeing a bunch of things and forgetting everything that you just saw. I know I've done that in the past where I just like there's so much content that I like, oh wait, I don't remember what I was just looking at. I don't I need to like take a second. So yeah, the way that this course plays out is really a marvel, and anybody who's taken Lewis's first course knows what I'm talking about. The second course is just like that, where there's so many opportunities to really apply what you've learned. So we're gonna check in with what Lewis is up to in just a second. We're watching his feed here, but I do want to get another question in here for you, Lewis, if that's okay. So from Edge, welcome Edge. Awesome question. Do you have any exercises or drills that you do to practice your design skills?
You can study real world design and try to replicate them inside your 3D software. I think this is a great way to actually, like, first you become more efficient with your tool, and you start to understand how you can do the same kind of this kind of stuff, and maybe you are going to apply what you just learned to your next concept design. So studying is really good, and as well you are just as well building asset for your library. So maybe at some point, if you are studying an architecture or a car or anything, you are going to add it to your library. So maybe you're going to use it maybe in the future. So this is great. Studying, and then you can as well study design that you love. So for example, I took like the Falcon Millennium before that, but I think every almost like old Star Wars design I think almost like masterpiece in a lot of the way, because it simplify a lot of stuff. And I think this is, I don't know if this is the first guy who come up with a big, medium, small principle, but they actually apply it in a very, very, very efficient way. So every movie that you love as well, you can study the design. You can study other concept artists as well, if you want, like to video games or movie, and then you can try to really understand, draw over the design, every shape, what's the goal of the shape, the purpose, and you can after that, once you understand everything, you can try to apply what you just learned to your own design.
That makes perfect sense. Yeah, I mean, get out there, ladies and gents, consume. It's interesting that like and you go over it in the course as well a little bit, like the things that you choose to watch and choose to read and choose to engage with, play, whatever, those all are a part of your kind of general lexicon and your literacy in art. Everything that you consume has an influence on you. And so, choosing the right things to engage with and to be inspired by goes a long way.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I want to clarify and answer your Guimaraes' question. Once again, I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name, but asking, isn't the course coming up on April 17th? Yes, that is true. The course, Lewis's second course, is coming out on April 17th. The student homework that you guys saw a second ago, which I assume that's what you were just asking about, the student homework that you saw, that was from Lewis's first course. And the awards that we're doing is for Lewis's first course. So to celebrate the release of Dynamic Concept Art 2 coming out, people are encouraged to finish their homework from Dynamic Concept Art 1, and we'll be giving out the Dynamic Concept Art 1 homework awards when we launch the second course. So that's kind of a good little incentive to like finish up with what's happening in the first course and move on to course number 2. Speaking of that, Pashido is saying, I have to finish my homework, was busy with other things, and I have it in the middle. I certainly know that feeling, and hopefully this gives you the little extra bit of of incentive to do that. So I want to get another question in here because we do have a bunch of questions. I want to mention, just for anybody who's just joining the show or who didn't hear before, what we're celebrating here today is the announcement of Louis Laurent's brand new Learn Squared course, Dynamic Concept Art 2. This is the follow-up to the course that he released last year. It's a massive, massive new course with so many hours of content, so much stuff to learn. This new course is going to be coming out on April 17th, so it's coming soon. But you can pre-order it right now on the Learn Squared site, and you can also get a discounted 2-course bundle if you have not, maybe let's say you've waited to purchase the course, you wanted to wait until they were both out. Now's the time to do it. There's a discounted 2-course bundle, and anybody who has, just so it's fair for everybody, anybody who purchased the first course already, who has bought the first course before this stream, we will also give those people a coupon to be able to match the price of the bundle when they buy the second course. So guys, get in there, get inspired, and get your homework done. We have those awards there. So to get some more questions in, we have a lot of excellent questions. Don't forget that Louis Laurent creating this demo for you guys where he's using the techniques that are demonstrated in his new course to create a brand new concept design for you guys live on stream. So this is pretty amazing stuff that he's like actually here creating something from scratch, like on the show for you guys. So that's awesome. Ask whatever questions you want to know. Now's the time to do it. He's here to answer your questions about his new course, about his art style, about his, career, if you want tips in the industry, if you want to know tips for your own artwork, anything you want to know, make sure you post those questions in the chat. Now's the time to do it. So to continue with the questions here, we have, it's a quick one. Charles Houghton saying, for concept art, what resolutions are normal to render? That's a good quick question.
Yeah, it depends, but I would say like 4K is, if you're using 4K is like the classic one, everyone will be happy with that. But sometimes you have projects where it's lower, but it never goes higher than that.
Yeah, I imagine it, it can start becoming very taxing to utilize stuff bigger than that.
And especially in film, like if you're using 4K, well, it's 24 images per second, so it can be very, very long to render stuff, and if you're going to animate or anything, so it costs way more.
Charles Houghton has a follow-up question to that as well. Thank you, Charles Houghton, for both questions. Excellent questions. So this is one that I can partially answer as well, just to let you keep working on your design. Charles Houghton saying, does Louis usually do paintovers on top of his renders, or does he often use renders as final images? And so what you're going to see in the second course is something that he didn't necessarily show off in the first one, where, yes, he does a lot of paintovers over the renders, over 3D renders. But in the second course, he also shows how to do renders of the CG and, to light your CG and bring it to a point where it looks good enough to present to somebody just as the CG render. And he also shows how to light and use your camera for a turntable of those CG renders. So the answer to your question is both. And I think that, Louis will explain more about this in a second, but one of the big aspects of that is, what part of your design are you trying to show off? What's important about showing that to, what aspect of that is important to show the client? And I think also partially how much time do you have, to work on it. So I'll let you take that from there, Louis.
For the painter, you mean?
Yeah, so in the course you show how to do a paint over your render, and you also show how to present your render essentially as a something to show the client on its own.
Yep. Well, for the paint over, it depends on the client and when they expect. Some clients want really realistic stuff, and they look almost like matte painting. So you are going to obviously to need way more time into like the 2D parts if you need like to photo bash a lot, stuff like that. And some other clients are more like are more interested in the design, the actual design, than the presentation. So they actually don't really care if it's well presented. They are more toward like the idea. Most of the time, it's when you are working very close with the director. When I freelance, most of the time I work close with the director. So it's all about design and storytelling with the design, within the design. And when you work for big VFX production, they have like kind of standard sometimes, and if you work like for Marvel, stuff like that, they want like most of the time clean stuff. So it really depends on the client, but in terms of time, I would say like I always take at least 30 minutes to do like the value. So it's like the separation of make plan and stuff like that. So to have something quite clean. So this is the most important part that I always want to do for every 3D render. But then you have sometimes, the second part I will do like maybe some paint over, like to clean up and complexify the focal point and simplify some area around maybe 2 hours for the paint over, just for the paint over part as an average.
There you go. And thank you again to Charles Houghton for your questions. Those are excellent questions. I'm sure that helped a lot of people as well. So thank you for that. We have a lot of questions in here, and I do want to just remind anybody who's just coming in. I see Finn down saying, "Oh, dang, I missed this." And we have Pashido, who earlier said, "Hello, welcome Pashido to the show," who asked the question before about finishing your homework. I'm sort of a little behind on the chat. But to anybody who is just joining the show, we're demoing live. We have Louis Laurent on the stream doing a live demonstration of the techniques in his brand new course, Dynamic Concept Art 2, which he's creating a totally new concept design right now in Blender. Dynamic Concept Art 2 is the follow-up to Louis's course from last year, which was hugely well received. We had a lot of excellent homework. We had a lot of great word of mouth from that course. We really appreciate everybody showing so much love to the first course. And Louis is now ready, almost ready to release the second course. So Dynamic Concept Art 2 is available now for pre-order on the Learn Squared site. It is also available in a bundle with the first course for anybody who hasn't jumped into to either of the courses yet. And you can find that right now on the Learn Squared site. So ladies and gents, get excited for that. Ask your questions to Louis, who is here live in the chat right now. Anything you want to know, make sure you post that in the chat. Speaking of questions, let's get another one in there. Rushboard Technologies, thank you for another question. What has been your largest VR sculpt, and how long did it take to refine?
I would say it was like an environment, maybe. At that time, when I was learning VR, I was doing almost all the environment inside VR. So it was very, very large. And it took me, I don't know, like maybe 20 hours just in VR. So it was on multiple days, of course. But I don't do that. Yeah, I don't do that anymore. Most of the time, I just like design one. Either I'm sketching because I don't have any idea, so I'll just explore in VR, which is a really nice way to find idea. Or I have like precise idea. I just want to do like the base, like the blockout inside VR, because it's maybe faster to use VR for the actual design that I have in head. But yeah, for VR, no, nowadays it's more for basic sketch, finding idea, and then I will refine inside inside Blender.
I will build on that the question and answer though, because what's really fascinating in this course that we do show a little bit in the trailer is that the difference between the VR usage in course 1 versus course 2 is pretty significant. In course 1, the way that Lewis uses VR to create these kind of like alien trees and alien rocks, alien landscapes, as you might imagine, to create like an alien landscape, you can get pretty abstract with that. And you know, in the VR, he shows how to create something with just like pretty much like wild abandon, like just going really crazy with stuff, turning things inside out, like stretching things past their breaking point and then creating something awesome out of it. And then in course 2, he shows how to, we call it precision VR, like how to create hard surface vehicles and stuff with very particular like cut lines and, you know, engine pieces and all these like aspects that are very much more like high precision items. And how far for this precision VR?
Yeah, so you know, we talk again about big, medium, small, and basically what I'm doing in VR with the art surface is I'm stopping at the big and medium. I'm not doing like or if I'm doing the small, it's just for the scale purpose and maybe doing 1 or 2 small detail, just for the scale and just for telling me, okay, this is the kind of scale that I want for the small or this kind of style maybe that I want, but not going too much further. But yeah, so it's more precise because it's completely different that organic shape and stuff like that. You have like to be you know, to take more time to pay attention to your different contrast, to your different size element. So yeah.
Yeah, and it's always fascinating to see Lewis work in VR. It's like it's incredible to see how quickly he's able to turn things around. That was a big sort of aspect of the first course. It's a big aspect of this course as well. And just to remind everybody, you know, we're talking a lot about VR, but I do want to remind anybody who doesn't know that every single thing that Lewis shows off in VR, he shows off how to do the exact same thing in traditional 3D software as well. So for any of you guys out there who are, you don't have access to VR or who just doesn't want to use VR, you're totally fine to take this course. You can take the entire course and use whichever, you know, traditional 3D software you prefer. You'll be totally fine doing that. There's no disconnect there. Now, having said that, ladies and gentlemen, I think now's a good time for anybody who might just be joining the show, or if you just want to see it again, we're going to take another look at the course trailer. So let's jump in there, you know, learn more about the course. Post your questions, as always, in the chat, and we'll be back in just a second. Enjoy the course trailer once again.
Last year, Laurent released a massive course for Learn Squared. And now, his highly anticipated follow-up is about to arrive. Dynamic Concept Art 2 is all about taking your designs to the next level. While the previous course dealt mostly with the natural world, this one dives into the harsher, less forgiving shapes of hard surfaces. You'll learn to craft high-precision VR sketches, detail structures and vehicles to create a vast sense of scale, and deliver a huge crop of paintings in record time, ranging from 30-minute black and white paintovers to 4-hour hero keyframes. This is a jam-packed set of lessons, with more than 10 hours of guided learning and over 40 hours of unedited process videos that you can analyze at any pace you choose. Plus, just like the last course, if you don't have VR, Lewis shows off all the exact same methods in traditional 3D software as well, so there really is something for everybody. With both courses now available, either separately or together in a discounted bundle, there's never going to be a better time to jump into dynamic concept art than right now. Sign up today and begin your journey at learnsquared.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, you just saw the trailer there once again. Dynamic Concept Art 2 is coming on April 17th. to Learn Squared. This is Louis Laurent's second course. As you might imagine from the 2 at the end of the name, it is connected in parts to his previous course, Dynamic Concept Art 1. But we do want to clarify that the course can be taken as an independent thing. You don't need to have both in order to understand this one. He goes over, and kind of like this can be completed start to finish without having done the first course. Or if you have done the first course, you can kind of continue the universe you were creating in that one into this one. It works either way. There's a 2-course bundle available on the site for anybody who wants to do both courses together. There's an incredible wealth of content throughout those 2 courses, hours and hours of content, a whole bunch of interactive homework assignments, and as you saw in the trailer, a huge bunch of unedited videos that you can go through as bonus content to really pick apart and watch at your own pace everything that he's doing in all the different software and workflows that he does. So guys, we have Louis here on the live stream today. He's been answering questions all throughout the show. He's also doing a live demonstration on the show. So make sure you get your questions in during today's broadcast. It's a great time to do that. It's a great opportunity to get anything, any burning questions answered that you always wanted to know about his work or about creating artwork in general. We're going to jump back into the demo in just a second, but I do want to mention, you see it on screen right now as well, that we are doing to celebrate the second course coming out, we're doing our first ever award ceremony for homework that students have submitted for the first course. So anybody who has submitted homework to the first course is entered in this giveaway. Anybody who's thinking about doing the first course, now's a great time to do it because you'll be entered in this contest. Louis is custom going through and actually curating these awards. So these 4 separate awards that you see on your screen right now, there's going to be 4 winners, one of each of these awards. Louis will have gone through, selected from all the homeworks in there, which one he thinks best exemplifies these 4 categories, and he'll actually be giving a custom set of thoughts on all those artworks. So that's a huge honor in itself. The award winners will also get a certificate of excellence that they can, I would hang it on my wall if I had one. Unfortunately, I don't. But you can hang that on your wall. You can post that on your ArtStation, post it on your social media. We're actually going to be promoting the winners on our social media as well. And then the big prize, each of these 4 winners is going to win a free Learn Squared course to continue their learning journey in whichever direction they choose. So this is actually like the biggest giveaway that we've really ever done. We are giving away 4 separate Learn Squared courses to 4 different winners. So that's pretty huge. Make sure you guys get your homework in by April 14th, which is the deadline for homework on that first course. And then you'll have a couple days for Louis to sort through all the entrants. And then, of course, on the day the new course comes out, we'll be talking about the winners of that award ceremony. Now, let's jump back into Louis's feed here. We're going to keep looking at the concept design that he's creating. Louis, can you take us through, at the beginning of the broadcast today, you talked about the general, references that you were going for and the inspirations and the concept that you wanted to do for your design. Can you talk us through what the concept is now that you've created this this design?
Yep. So same idea is we have like this drone pod that follow like the characters. And this little guy is going to carry a lot of bags. So the idea is we have like this cloth inside that could be a net, but for now it's maybe I'm going to put like a texture for it's going to be a net maybe. And we can put like bags, crates inside, even like on the corner, maybe like the stuff happening here could be like retaining like the bag inside, and then on the outside we'll have as well maybe a way to put attached bag as well with straps, and so I kind of cheat like the lower part of the design. We have like this kind of feeling of repetition, and it gives a nice way as well to create repetition and adding a lot of detail to to contrast with the complexity of the top that is going to be quite simple. So we are going to have like all this circle that is going to be simple. The inside is going to be really busy with a lot of bags. So it's great, I think. And if we look it from like the side, we are going again to have this really simple side that is maybe 80% of the design. And maybe the lower part, we're going to be really busy, which is basically maybe where like the thruster and stuff is and how like the vehicle is flying. And maybe I will put like some, little panel where we have like control on the stuff. Maybe we have like some port where we can plug like maybe for energy. So just basically, putting like adding some sense to the design, because we have like a nice shape. This is cool, but now we have like to add some visual sense and functionality to the design, so it's clear for the viewer. And I'm not going like to refine a lot the design, because again, I'm going to paint over. So if things are not aligned perfectly, it's completely fine, because for me it takes literally 2 seconds like to add a stroke and to clean up. But I try like to be as clean as possible while doing it, because it saves some time.
I think that leads perfectly into Hunter Catherwood's question, which is an excellent question, saying, hey, Lewis, I know you have the larger shapes and ideas sketched out, but when it comes to designing the smaller shapes like panel cut lines, we design them in 3D or sketch over a quick render. And so you partially addressed that, but can you go more into detail about where you draw the line for like doing something in 3D versus just switching over to the paint over and adding it in that stage?
So yeah, cut line and stuff. It's really like the same idea how you compose like your image. So for example, if like I will take like a cube, and in this cube, if I like had to cut to add like cut line, I will use a quick clip. Maybe where I can put them is again using like the big, medium, small principle. So maybe we can have like a cut. So already here I'm dividing like my shape. We have 20% at the top, 80% at the bottom. And then you can continue the same principle. So maybe I can cut here. So again, if this square were a composition already, it's more on the third top left. So it's already nice. And maybe this is going this part to be my focal point. So now that I have my cut, I can maybe continue to add inside the same idea. And, it's almost as well like the golden ratio, like you can apply the same principle to your design. So maybe I'm going to add like, this is going to be like the focal point. And inside the focal point, you can continue to push like the same idea. So maybe I'm going like to cut something like that. And then I'm going like to add a lot of little detail. And so already like in my cut line, I've make decision that looks really cool already. And we have a focal point on this panel. So you have to treat like this side of the cube of the design. Let's say it's like the side of your vehicle. It's a panel. And you have to treat this panel on its own, like it's a unique design on its own. So you have to treat like the same way as you are going to compose your lighting, your composition, your place, your camera, your layout, or anything. So I think a nice way as well, if you want, like you can, really try to have like big decision that is clear and not something that is, kind of in the middle like that. You don't really know like the cut and stuff. So it's all about like having a focal point. Let's say this is the side of my vehicle. Okay, where I want to put like the focal point, or how you can push like the big picture, the full vehicle maybe. So maybe you are going to have like big line that leads the eye to your focal point, but at the same time, you are going to put a mini focal point inside your vehicle. And so this is where you are going, maybe to push the contrast. So here maybe it's more inside. So already, just on this side, and if we like apply the rest like that, already you have like a design, a nice contrast that is appealing, and you have this focal point that is very clear when the viewer is going to look to the side, it's clear this is a focal point. We have nice leading eye, so maybe it's going to the cockpit in the front. So always like that. With the cut line, you have like to try to push the focal point. So here, for example, like I'm trying really to push everything in the center. So everything kind of like is smooth. So the transition for the eye is really smooth. And then we have like this very sharp contrast before with the framing inside. So we have like a cut line inside that is going inside. So it frames even more like the design. It's even more clear that we have this round shape. And then we have again this shape. So basically the eye is going like on the side like that. Then we have a big contrast that is appealing. And then it's going like in the inverted bevel. It's going inside again to the center. And then we have like all the strap that is pointing to the center. And we have like this kind of cut line as well that is, pushing to the design even more. So now the goal that we have this big, nice foundation is going to, the difficulty is going to keep this kind of feeling all the time, because when you start to add a lot of detail, it's where it can maybe start to be busy and we lose maybe the focal point and the clarity of the design. So it's all the difficulty as well with designing stuff.
There you go. And I want to, while Lewis keeps working on his design, I do want to call out a few people in the chat. Pashido saying, nice, I'll try to win that award. Good luck to you, Pashido, and we're really excited to see what you create. Hugo Fridwell, welcome with the heart there. And thank you for the heart, for the love for the course and for the demo. We also have Charles Houghton, who I didn't get to address, was responding to when Lewis answered their question. Just really appreciative of those answers, and it's nice to see that the answers helped. Of course, saying max is 4K, super helpful to know. Turntable is a great idea because it's a critical tool for directors, and that they love the answer about the 2-hour after a render for a paint over. That it's good to have just like a general ballpark idea of how long to use for a paint over. And I'll build on that while Lewis is continuing to work on his design. That is a major part of the course, where there's actually separate homework assignments during the paint over stage. There are separate homework assignments for like creating a hero paint over that might take, a relatively long time, like, maybe even 4 hours, like we talked about in the trailer. Then there will be a different homework assignment for like basically selecting from the rest of your renders, like which ones do you want to take to that 2-hour paint over stage to do it in color and to, photo bash in things that you want. And then which ones do you want to still render and paint over, but maybe have them be quicker paint overs, like a 30-minute black and white, no photo bashing, but just make it look nice, fix the lighting, that kind of stuff. So in the course, you're actually going to be creating multiple kind of like levels of renders based on the amount of time that you choose to have. And of course, when you're taking the course, that is a luxury. You can choose, I want these to be 30 minutes, I want these to be 4 hours. But when you're on a professional gig and your client is asking for something really that needs to be a fast turnaround, you're definitely going to be thankful for those kinds of disciplines that have been taught in this course. To be able to say, okay, now I can turn out these smaller black and white paint overs based on my renders, and then have like one hero one and be able to use your time really effectively. So that's something that's going to be pretty helpful. This course, in many different ways, really focuses on making sure that you have the skills necessary to go straight into professional work, and really anybody who's already doing professional work to optimize your workflow in a way that will really boost the way that you create artwork for your professional career. So I think you guys are going to find that very, very valuable in this course. And a lot of the homework assignments really try to lean towards that and help you to get in the mindset of what it's like when you're on a job and when you need to have these kinds of things in your head. So we have a bunch of questions, and I want to say thank you to everybody who's asked questions so far. They've all been excellent. Thank you so much, guys, and thank you to everybody who's still asking questions. Anybody who's just joining, we are showing off Louis Laurent's brand new Learn Squared course, Dynamic Concept Art 2. This is a follow-up to his course from last year, and you can get it in pre-order form right now on the Learn Squared site. Dynamic Concept Art 2 is coming out on April 17th, so it's not too far away. But for anybody who has not yet picked up the first course or wants to make sure that they get their first course homework finished and be ready to move on to the second course, we're doing a special promotion right now where we're actually doing the first ever Learn Squared Homework Awards. So to help to inspire you guys to finish off your homework from the first course, Louis is custom curating a set of awards for student homework in the first course. And we're going to celebrate the release of the second course by giving out awards for homework that was completed on that first course. So you guys have until April 14th to submit your homework from that first course to be entered into those homework awards. And the winners of the 4 different categories, I'll just show this graphic again. The winners of the 4 different homework awards categories for imaginative world building, creativity and asset design, excellence in set design, and distinguished paintovers. Each of those 4 winners is going to win a free Learn Squared course. So that's 4 total courses we're giving away to 4 different winners, in addition to featuring their award-winning artwork on our social channels and giving them a personalized certificate from Learn Squared, certified from Learn Squared as winning these prestigious awards. So good luck to everybody in those homework awards, and get your homework done. That's always important. Finish that homework, ladies and gents. So since Louis is here on today's stream, make sure you ask your questions, anything you want to know about his artwork or about the artwork creation process in general, anything that can help you, anything you want to know about working in the industry. Get your questions in now in the chat. Charles Houghton saying, thanks to Louis for taking the time for this live stream. Very generous with your times. Very much appreciated. And I want to second that. Thank you so much, Louis, for doing this stream. It really is so much appreciated.
Thank you for being here, and thank you for having me.
Rushboard Technologies has a question. Do you use plugins like KitOps Pro, or do you prefer the rawness of hand sculpting?
I do use a plugin quite a lot. Quick Shape, for example, I use a lot. Simply Close as well, for example, for the closing. But this is just stuff that you can do in Blender on standalone, but less faster by using plugin. So if you can save a lot of time, or I will use them for sure. But I do sculpt as well in Blender. It really depends on the design and what I want to do. Like in the course, I use the sculpting tool, but not for this design. I feel it's not like it's not very not going to be very efficient. Maybe I could, like, maybe if I want like to add texture and stuff, like detail. But no, yeah.
So Rushboard Technologies, who just asked that question, thank you so much for the questions. They're excellent. Rushboard's saying, sorry, I'm asking a lot of questions. First of all, don't be sorry for that. We love the questions, and they're great questions, so thank you for that. Rushboard saying, though, I'm learning Blender, and I just got a VR headset with the first course, so I'm curious about both workflows. I just want to say congrats on jumping into VR, and we're honored that you would specifically do it along with the first course. I hope you're enjoying it. That's awesome. And yeah, being curious is half the battle, right? Like that's what makes a great artist. That's what, how anybody learns. And that's what we're here for, right? Like Louis is here to answer questions. So anything you want to know, like now's the time, right? Thank you so much for asking these questions. Rushboard, speaking of that, has a question right before that of, have you ever 3D printed your VR sculpts? Another great question.
Yeah, I know like some guys saw that like online, print their even like their design and stuff, and they can do like a Warhammer and paint them, and so I think it's very cool. I mean, at some point I would love to do that. For sure, it will be like a nice hobby, but for that you need time, which is definitely something that is difficult to have sometimes.
Damien Soto, welcome Damien Soto, by the way, saying, hi, I'm currently following the first course. So first of all, thank you for jumping into the first course. We're really excited to see your stuff. Wondering though, Damien's wondering, how were you creating your character assets? Do you start with existing 3D models, or do you model everything and rig them? And I just want to throw in there that there is more detail actually in Concept Art 2 about creating characters. There's like a whole, we call it the character design crash course. It's like a little self-contained thing that's all specifically about creating characters. I'll let you take it away, Louis. How are you creating your character assets? Do you start with existing 3D models, or do you model everything and rig them?
If it's a character to populate a scene, like he is not the main character, I'm going to like to find it online, buy it, or I'm not going to design. But if it's a hero character, like a very important one, like the character that I design and use in the dynamic concept art 1 and 2, I'm going to design it by myself. And so for that, most of the time I start with a pose. I use DAZ. I know a lot of guys use character corrector, I think. And personally, I use DAZ because I have a huge library of different stuff in DAZ. So for me, it's really, it's just easy for me. But the character comes already rigged. I can pose it inside DAZ, but most of the time the basic workflow, I will just use the character in T-pose. Then I will design it, import the character in Medium, design above the character like the suit and everything, like the equipment and like all the design that I need. Then I will refine in Blender and do like I would say like the loop is almost all the time the same. Like you sketch something in Medium, then you refine in Blender, you do the texturing, and you import like your asset into your 3D scene to create like a state design, and then you render and you do the paint over. So I think this is a loop that is very common nowadays in the industry. Like a lot of people use the same loop to create their concept. And it's a very powerful loop, so you can apply for any design, for everything, and you will still have at the end of the day something to show to the client at a very high quality level when you kind of master the loop at some point.
And there you go. I do want to remind everybody that in this course there is a specific section that does cover character design and how to do all the things that that Louis just mentioned on the stream here. So I think you'll find that pretty valuable when you're taking the second course. So we have had so many great questions on today's show. Thank you to everybody asking the questions. Again, anybody who has any questions for Louis Laurent, make sure you post them in the chat. And I think that we'll take a second right here just to go back into the trailer. For anybody who has not yet seen the trailer, you'll get kind of a nice overhead view of what this course is all about. And anybody who, maybe you'll see something you missed if you've already seen the trailer. So we'll see you guys in just a sec. Back on the other side of that trailer. Enjoy the trailer for Dynamic Concept Art 2.
Last year, Louis Laurent released a massive course for Learn Squared. And now, his highly anticipated follow-up is about to arrive. Dynamic Concept Art 2 is all about taking your designs to the next level. While the previous course dealt mostly with the natural world, this one dives into the harsher, less forgiving shapes of hard surfaces. You'll learn to craft high-precision VR sketches, detail structures and vehicles to create a vast sense of scale, and deliver a huge crop of paintings in record time, ranging from 30-minute black and white paintovers to 4-hour hero keyframes. This is a jam-packed set of lessons, with more than 10 hours of guided learning, and over 40 hours of unedited process videos that you can analyze at any pace you choose. Plus, just like the last course, if you don't have VR, Louis shows off all the exact same methods in traditional 3D software as well, so there really is something for everybody. With both courses now available, either separately or together in a discounted bundle, there's never going to be a better time to jump into dynamic concept art than right now. Sign up today and begin your journey at learnsquare.com.
Ladies and gents, Dynamic Concept Art 2, you just saw the trailer there. The course is coming out on April 17th, so it's not too far away. You can get it either alone or in a 2-course bundle, like we mentioned in the trailer. And on today's show, for anybody who's not aware, Louis Laurent, the instructor of the course, is here live. Say hi, Louis.
Hi.
Louis is here to do a live demonstration and talk about the course, along with anything you want to know about his art or about creating art in general. So make sure you post your questions in the chat. Now, we're kind of wrapping up the show here, but we do have some more comments and questions to get to here. So we're going to jump back into Louis's feed, creating the live demonstration. I want to mention, too, we haven't really said it on this episode. We did this with the other 2 streams that Louis did. This entire broadcast, the full unedited feed of Louis's screen as he creates this art is going to be available in the course itself as bonus content. So we did that for the first 2 streams as well, where we added those as bonus content to the course itself. So if the course wasn't big enough and full of content enough, then it's about to get even bigger because we're adding all this stuff to it as well. So get excited for that, ladies and gents. We have a couple more questions here. So I want to ask from Rhino. Thank you, Rhino, for the question. How much of the problem solving do you do, Louis, in the sketching phase before jumping into 3D?
80%, I would say. Like I would say like the big design decision here, for example, like it was like the shape of the pod and like the function, it was already made. Then I can add like maybe little stuff that I didn't do in the sketch, like the lights, and add more shape, like the below stuff. But I would say like the idea is almost the same that as I did in the sketch. But for sure, when you are in 3D, it's different because you start to have like a different relationship with your design. So sometimes you will have like new idea coming up, which is great. But if you show a sketch before to the client or the director, they may want to be quite close to what you have shown before. So it's almost a skill, to have be able to have an idea, to sell it, and then to be able to finish it and stick with the same idea. Because it's very easy like to start to do something completely different from what you proposed in the first place.
And so when you're referring to sketching, you're talking about 2D sketching.
Yeah. I think but sometimes I will sketch, not 2D sketch. Most of the time, actually, I'm doing like 3D sketching, like 30 minutes in VR or even in Blender really quickly. And I will maybe like just take like a 3/4 view or different and draw really quickly over just to show some idea. But yeah.
Yeah, because that is something worth mentioning, is that in this both of these courses, there are pretty extensive chapters about how to do 3D sketching and really just iterate very quickly and efficiently on your ideas either in VR or in your 3D software, traditional 3D software, using a lot of like very again, like unexpected like using textures and stuff to really just make your design like sort of freak out, and then using those happy accidents to run with. It's always fascinating to see your process with those things. So first of all, Charles Houghton saying, peace out all. Thanks, Lewis. Thank you so much, Charles Houghton, for being a part of the show today and for asking a bunch of excellent questions. Let's post some hearts in the chat, ladies and gents, for Charles Houghton, who's heading out, possibly left already, but if not, then hopefully you'll see all of our love in the chat. And if not, then Charles Houghton will just feel it wherever they are. They've left the show. They'll know. Rushboard Technologies pointing out, referencing to some of our other amazing courses on Learn Squared, visual storytelling and hard surface design are probably great parallel courses for dynamic concept art 1 and 2, as well as map painting. And all three of those courses, I can attest, of course, I know those courses well, and they're absolutely great parallels to this course, or great things to continue your learning with. And it's also a great segue into what we're talking about with the awards. So the Student Homework Awards winners, 4 different winners of these 4 different categories are going to win a free course of their choosing to continue their Learn Squared journey wherever they want. So, after having done Lewis's dynamic concept art course, maybe those are great suggestions of next courses to try that will sort of help them go in another direction with these skill sets that they've learned. So it's a great point, Rushboard Technologies, to point that out, because at Learn Squared, we try to cultivate all different kinds of disciplines and workflows, and I think that any of those 3 courses would be a great place to go, after doing this one. So great suggestion. We have Rushboard saying also, have you ever used VR and Blender sculpts in a composite?
What do you mean composite?
Maybe like sending it directly to the compositors of like a film.
Oh yeah, sure. Like VR. Well, most of the time you will do like the render in Blender, and then you would give like the pass, and you maybe refine in Photoshop, and you will give like the pass with the alpha to the compositor, or composite. But yeah, it happens a lot that sometimes we just do like the pass and everything, like almost like matte painting, but just for part of the painting or stuff like that of the image. We do as well, like we have like other guy who do like in this dev department, they do like animated stuff like VFX and stuff like that, but not final VFX. It's more like proof of concept, and they do the animation, and they do like they give it like to the compositor after that. And so yeah, in Blender, like I would say, like it's actually ready like for the film industry and video games industry. Like it's there are plenty of guys using Blender working in the industry now.
You think that gives you a leg up on other designers, like the fact that you're able to deliver stuff that can be used by those teams?
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. Like 3D now is like a must-have. But yeah, it's funny because when you see like the industry, like for film industry, for example, like the standard is Maya, and Maya like is crap, really. Like it's horrible to work with, and everyone, but like the industry is like all the scripts, all the add-on, everything is created internally in the studio, but around Maya. So everyone is using Maya, but in fact, I think it's just a matter of year. At some point, like, I think they will switch to Blender or something like that. It's so easy to create in Blender, like. But really, and even more like as a concept artist, I really don't know like how. I'm really happy like to live in this day where I have to learn Blender and not Maya like 5 or 10 years ago with Modo and stuff like that, because honestly it look horrible. I think the tool we have today, it's really like it's very enjoyable, and we have a lot of like I think like to have this tool, because it's actually incredible like to create with this kind of stuff.
Pashido asking sort of to build on what you were just talking about with the a team using the 3D that you made. Like, how often would you say that a client asks for the 3D models versus a paint over?
I would say like eight client on 10 will ask for the 3D.
Oh wow.
But again, if you see like my profile, it's quite clear that I'm using a lot of 3D in my work, and a lot of clients will come to me because they want the concept, but at the same time they want the 3D from me. So for sure, like this is because of my profile and my portfolio. But if you are doing only like 2D, I don't think so. Like people will come to you asking for the 3D. But this is definitely a plus. I would say it's always a must-have, and you can even sell the 3D like as a different, like on the bill, you know, as a different stuff. Like so you can win like more money because you're selling as well the 3D asset and not only like the 2D concept. So yeah, it depends. Actually, sometimes I'm quite generalist, so sometimes I'm almost doing only like the environment design in 3D, and I'm not even doing like the 2D concept. And they are just happy with the 3D design. I'm doing some quick render, putting the render in Lightroom just like to refine like the value and some stuff, and that's it. Like it happens a lot, even more and more, because the 3D like are become so powerful, like with Unreal and even Blender with Cycle and stuff. It's your render is already like really good if you are doing like all the lighting tricks to have already like a good cinematographic lighting inside Blender. I mean, you don't have that much job to do like in 2D, honestly. So 2D is almost like I love about it with some friend because it's almost useless because you are just pushing a bit, like it's more marketing, just like to show your image in a cool way. It's more sexy, it's more pleasing for the viewer, but it's actually almost useless in production to do like the in some renders, like maybe 50% of the render is almost useless to do the paint over because you don't actually need it, because it doesn't solve any more problem. It's just you're doing a pretty picture, but for the production, it's like, okay, but I don't care about the pretty picture. I just care about like the visual and the design decision and that's it, you know. So yes, 3D is going like to be even, I think, even more. It's actually like everywhere, but in the future it will be even more everywhere.
Yeah, I mean it's a good point. Like the 2D obviously serves to inspire people, in a certain stage of the process, but yeah, in terms of like utilitarian 3D, of course, seems like it has more functions in the general process.
Yeah, exactly.
Damas Draws, great question in the chat. Thank you, Damas Draws, for the question. What's the usual deliverable time for a concept? Like we've talked about how long it takes to do a paint over, but how long does it take to go from zero to a finished concept that you're delivering? How do you manage your time? And do you always do it in a particular workflow, or do you kind of like change the workflow based on the project or based on the constraints?
Yeah. Well, I would say with time you can have like and with the experience you can have like you can predict when you receive the brief, you can already have an idea of how you're gonna do it. So I think it came like with experience, having like a clear idea of, okay, I'm going to do this in 3D and then I'm going to like paint over like that. And in terms of time, I would say in the film you have to have something to show at the end of the day. It can be like not the final product, it's fine. It depends again on the client and what's the timeline, the deadline is. Sometimes they will come like in the afternoon and they want something in 2 hours. So you have to be very fast. So you are not going to output something that is very high quality. But at least if you solve the problem, it's the most important part again. If you solve the problem and you show something, they are happy. And sometimes you're quite surprised because the sketches that you do like very quickly in 30 minutes sometimes this is a sketch list that have more impact than a piece that you are working for 3 days. Yeah, I think you have to not be afraid and not to be too attached to your work, because you never know. The directors, they can see something and clicked with something that you actually don't maybe care, or you are maybe thinking that is not very good. This is where you have to put your ego on the side. Yeah, I would say like you have to have something under a day, under 8 hours in general. So how I cut my days, maybe like 1 hour, 2 hours of references. If I haven't, then maybe 4 hours of 3D and 2 hours of paint over. But again, with times you have, like for example, here I have like a huge library of a ton of different stuff. So for me, it's very easy to pick and start to create from that, because my workflow is already made from a few years ago. So for me, it's quite fast now. But when I was starting, I was maybe taking maybe 2 or 3 more time. So yeah.
Yeah, and it's goes to show how quickly you're able to work based on the thing you just created on today's stream. This came out of like zero. Like you started from zero, and now you're here after 2 hours. So it's a great indicator of what you're just talking about. Can you take us through the design? It's really progressed a lot since the last time you explained it. So take us through what decisions you made and what some of the functionality you added is.
Yeah, so here I'm putting like a lot of bags, piling bags, having some crate around. I'm thinking if I had like more time, I would like maybe like on the outside, like creating like curving like the outside and putting crate inside, like they could slide the crate. I think one thing that miss is maybe here, for example, I put like this kind of stuff. It could be like where you plug like a cable, so I could create like very quickly like a cable going around, and maybe it's going on the floor, and maybe the cable is attached to a generator or something, and it's maybe recharging, so it will be when the pod is empty and they are doing the maintenance on it. I still have to think how the pod is going on the floor. Is it going on the floor? Does it have like any little feet to go on the floor, or is it like sliding into nourishment or anything? Still something that I have to figure out. But I think like 80% of the design is almost done. It's just a matter of designing, continue to push the little details, putting like the bag and stuff around, having like more straps on the weapon and stuff like that. But again, like I could like put the straps here and stuff, making like very clean in 3D. But honestly, like in 2D, it's taking like two strokes and that's it. So it's a you have to balance how much time it takes you in 3D and how much time it's going to take you in 2D. So is it worth it? Basically, always asking in my head, like, is it worth it to do it in 3D or not? But yeah, I think like the design, it's all about adding a lot of detail. But we can wrap up here. I think it's you have a good idea and of where it goes.
Yeah, it looks incredible. Guys, can we post some hearts in the chat for this design? You literally saw this come together right in front of your eyes. Like, it's hard to believe. Remkin saying the same thing, 2 hour turnaround for the Sense comical. Like, it's hard to believe that this was actually just created on today's show. And amazing work to Louis. And, thank you so much to everybody being on today's broadcast. Don't forget to save your work, ladies and gentlemen. This is a good indicator for that. A good lesson. But yeah, I'm gonna put some hearts from Learn Squared here in the chat as well. This has just been incredible. Anybody who has any final thoughts in the chat, wants to post some hearts in the chat, do that right now. We're gonna jump back into the trailer one last time. and then we're going to take the show out. So thank you guys for being a part of it. We'll see you in just a sec.
Last year, Laurent released a massive course for Learn Squared. And now, his highly anticipated follow-up is about to arrive. Dynamic Concept Art 2 is all about taking your designs to the next level. While the previous course dealt mostly with the natural world, this one dives into the harsher, less forgiving shapes of hard surfaces. You'll learn to craft high-precision VR sketches, detail structures and vehicles to create a vast sense of scale, and deliver a huge crop of paintings in record time, ranging from 30-minute black and white paintovers to 4-hour hero keyframes. This is a jam-packed set of lessons, with more than 10 hours of guided learning and over 40 hours of unedited process videos that you can analyze at any pace you choose. Plus, just like the last course, if you don't have VR, Louis shows off all the exact same methods in traditional 3D software as well, so there really is something for everybody. With both courses now available, either separately or together in a discounted bundle, there's never going to be a better time to jump into dynamic concept art than right now. Sign up today and begin your journey at learnsquared.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, what you're looking at right here on screen is the asset that Louis has designed live on today's broadcast in this, whatever this was, 2 hours of today's show, a little less than 2 hours if you take out the parts from when we were talking about other stuff. So let's say hour and a half of designing. He created this incredible design, which again, to anybody who didn't hear before, in Dynamic Concept Art 2, the full unedited video that Louis locally recorded of him making this design will be added to the bonus content section of the course. So you'll actually be able to see the full thing as it happened, even during the parts where we cut away to show other stuff. That'll be in the bonus content of the course, the full video. What we're doing on today's show is we're doing a celebration. We're announcing Louis's new course, Dynamic Concept Art 2, which is a follow-up to his course from last year that was really well received. We're so happy to see how many people loved that first course, and we're excited to have Louis back for the second one. So you just saw the trailer for the new course. You can get the new course right now as a pre-order. The Dynamic Concept Art 2 is going to be coming out on April 17th, so about 3 weeks away. And you can get that on its own or as a 2-course bundle with the first course together. We're really excited to see what you guys create from this second course. And speaking of things created, for anybody who doesn't know, I want to mention one more time that to celebrate the second course coming out, we are going to be doing our first ever Student Homework Awards for Louis's first course. So this is your moment, guys, to inspire you, to encourage you to get your first course homework finished. Louis is going to be custom curating a set of awards from the first course's homework. So for anybody who's already submitted their homework from that first course, you're already in the running for the contest. For anybody who has not yet submitted their homework, you have until April 14th to get your homework in. And we're going to be giving away 4 awards to 4 lucky winners, one to each of these awards to one lucky winner. Imaginative world building, creativity and asset design, excellence in set design, and distinguished paintover. These apply to kind of the 4 main tenets of the course. And those winners are going to be specially featured on our social media. They're going to be to win a personalized certificate of excellence. And each winner is going to win one free course of their choosing from anywhere on the site. So you'll really be able to continue your Learn Squared journey, from winning these awards. So good luck to everybody in the homework awards from the first course. We're going to be announcing the winners on the stream when the second course comes out. So that's going to be in about 3 weeks. Keep your eyes out for that, ladies and gents, and make sure you get your homework done. As you can see on the remote feed for what's happening on Lewis's computer here, he just created an incredible design on today's broadcast using all of the techniques that are shown off in this second course. And that's really the objective here, is that this design does not feature in the second course. He created this custom for today's stream. And it just really goes to show how you can make something totally different than what is created in the course itself, using the techniques of Lewis's course. So really, get creative, guys. Just make some amazing things. We're so excited to see what you make. Post some love in that chat for Lewis for coming on here. Number one, for creating an incredible 2 courses throughout these past months on Learn Squared. It's just amazing. And also for coming in here and doing this incredible demo for us. Thank you so much, Lewis. I'm going to post some hearts in that chat. Rushboard Technologies, thank you for your answers and for your demo. Ibrahim Assam saying that's incredible, posting hearts. Rushboard also saying, I love that. I thought it was a bunker at first, and now I realize it's a hover resupply sled. Yeah, when it was at first when it was the donut, it could have gone anywhere, right? It could have even been a donut. But I really love the way it turned out. And so Lewis is going to be back when we do the release of the second course on the 17th of April. Lewis is going to be back for another live stream, and he's going to be continuing this concept design that you're seeing right now. So he's going to bring this into the texturing and the paint over phase going forward. So you guys are going to see how this, extrapolates even further from where it is right now, which, of course, I'm very excited to see. I hope you guys are too. Thank you so much to everybody being a part of the show. I want to say that we did miss a couple of questions. So let's get a little lightning round in. Lewis, do you want to do a lightning round for questions real quick?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
So Rushboard Technology is saying mouse, stylus, or both?
Mouse for 3D and stylus for 2D, of course.
There you go. Yeah, pretty tough to do.
And
mouse
sculpting Blender, I use the stylus sometimes.
And also for 3D, sort of a hand controller. Neither.
And hand, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So Gamer saying, what's your experience with dealing with, interesting question. So since I achieved my goals, I find it hard to do personal projects. How do you find time to do personal work?
For personal work, well, it's like work-life balance kind of question. It depends. During winter here in Montreal, you can go outside. It's very cold, so you have a lot of time to do your stuff. But no, I would say it depends. I would say once you find a work and you're comfortable, you can maybe kind of slow down on your personal project, and you are going maybe to be more picky. That's what I do actually. I have a ton of different ideas that I put in notes in my little journal. And I'm more picky with my idea now. But when I was a student, I was going very hard and doing a lot of different stuff, and maybe only 20% of the project I was actually happy and with them, and I was going to put them outside, on social media and stuff. But yeah, if you feel burnout, I would say just stop, do completely other stuff. Personally, I love photography, so I do a lot of photography. It's a lot bad period, so maybe for 3 months I won't do photography because I have a lot of inspiration in concept art. But once I have any inspiration for concept art, I'm going to go back to photography a lot. I just doing completely different stuff, trying reading stuff or doing completely different stuff. If you feel that you achieve a goal and you feel empty after that, this is stuff that I think happened to a lot of people, especially when they have a very big goal and they work very hard for multiple years for that goal. I think this kind of stuff that happened to me when I break into the industry. You achieve your goal and now you kind of feel empty. I think you need time as well, to just have the the failure to restart again. And at some point, if you truly love your art, in concept art and stuff, you are going to go back to it at some point. But
go ahead.
No, it's over.
It's a profound question, and thank you, Gamer, again for the question. It's a big problem, and it's like a tough one to answer. And great answer, Lewis, and best of luck, Gamer, with sort of finding that balance. I have one last for our lightning round here. I have one last question, Lewis, and that is, what are you going to name this device?
Most of the time, I give like people name of my people that I know around me, friends or stuff like that. I don't know, something with an O imagine because you feel like a O shape. So I don't know. If you have any idea, don't hesitate to send me on Instagram or
Ooh, okay. That's a good chance for the chat. Chat, at the end of the stream here, post your ideas for the name of this this robot thing in the chat. What would you call this thing? Possibly starts with an O, but we're open to any ideas. Name this guy, and we'll roll with that on the next stream when we do that. So you could post that in the chat here, or post it in when we on our social media when we post a picture of the design. Thank you so much, Lewis, for doing this stream once again. Thank you to everybody who asked all these amazing questions. I'm so sorry if I missed anyone's question. I tried my best to get to everybody. But yeah, there's so many great questions and comments in the chat, and it's really cool to see how many people are being inspired by these two courses and being inspired by other people's homework. And it's awesome that we're able to do this, and that you guys are able to get your questions answered. So thanks for being a part of the show. To everybody in the chat, we really appreciate it. We got a couple real quick suggestions here, Lewis. Snow Fennec saying Oreo. Rushboard saying Grav Stash. I like that. I like both of those, to be honest. Oreo Grav Stash also works. Just combine the names. I like Enzo Monaro saying it's great that you included some cool boxes on your design because it's almost time for a beer. Yeah, you could bring this thing on like a fishing trip. It could hold your beers.
It could. Yeah, exactly. It could be like. That's true. We can completely change the function of the stuff.
You could even sit in the thing, and that would be like your fishing boat. Okay. Now we got the ideas flowing, huh, ladies and gents? All right, let's call it a stream. It's getting late. Thank you again, Lewis. Thank you, everybody, for being a part of the show.
Thank you, everyone, and thank you, Nick, for hosting again. Really nice, awesome energy.
Oh, well, I'm honored to do it. Guys, you can find Dynamic Concept Art 2 right now on learnsquared.com as a pre-order. It's available solo or as a 2-course bundle with the first course. You can find the course April 17th is when it's going to be coming out. And I want to remind you guys that we are doing, as a celebration of the second course coming out, we're holding the first ever Learn Squared Homework Awards for students of the first course. So anybody who has submitted homework for the first course is already entered into our Student Homework Awards. Anybody who has not yet finished their homework for the first course, or maybe you haven't even bought the first course yet, you still have time to enter your homework in there. So you submit your homework in any lesson of Lewis's first course by April 14th, which is the deadline, and you'll be automatically entered in our Homework Awards. Award winners will be personally curated by Lewis himself. He's going to be choosing 4 different winners for each of the 4 categories. So that's 4 total winners, one in each category of these awards. I'll show you what the awards are here. Winners are going to get a whole bunch of stuff. You're going to get like a care package from us that has, number one, you're going to be specially promoted on our official Learn Squared social platforms. You're going to get a whole bunch of like badges and stuff of your win, like the ones you see here for whichever award you win. You're going to get a personalized certificate of excellence that's got our stuff on it and Lewis's signature on it and stuff like that. And each of the 4 winners is going to win 1 free course of their choosing from anywhere on the Learn Squared site to continue their learning journey. And again, that's the biggest giveaway that we've ever done. 4 courses we're giving away at once. So make sure you guys get your homework in. Hopefully this is a good push for you guys to really finish your homework and get that done. And make sure you check out Dynamic Concept Art 2, available for pre-order now and coming out April 17th. Thank you so much, guys. We're going to close it out by going to the trailer one last time. So I want to say goodbye, and once again,
Bye.
huge thanks to Louis.
Last year, Laurent released a massive course for Learn Squared. And now, his highly anticipated follow-up is about to arrive. Dynamic Concept Art 2 is all about taking your designs to the next level. While the previous course dealt mostly with the natural world, this one dives into the harsher, less forgiving shapes of hard surfaces. You'll learn to craft high-precision VR sketches, detail structures and vehicles to create a vast sense of scale, and deliver a huge crop of paintings in record time, ranging from 30-minute black and white paintovers to 4-hour hero keyframes. This is a jam-packed set of lessons, with more than 10 hours of guided learning and over 40 hours of unedited process videos that you can analyze at any pace you choose. Plus, just like the last course, if you don't have VR, Louis shows off all the exact same methods in traditional 3D software as well, so there really is something for everybody. With both courses now available, either separately or together in a discounted bundle, there's never going to be a better time to jump into dynamic concept art than right now. Sign up today and begin your journey at LearnSquared.com.